Yes, guys, welcome back to another vid from Mutal FC, and today we got another banging vid for you. Since the Premier League is not on this week, we decided we'll do a Premier League season review so far. And we got an amazing weekend last weekend. Oh my god, some of the results were like just mad. All right, and we saw what 80 million pounds can get you.
Stand back and stand by, boys.
Alright, as you guys just saw, Luke Shaw wishes Maguire stood back and stood by, but he was doing a ballet pirouette, and Cavani can teach him ballet. But I digress. Liverpool got clowned as well, so let's move on to Liverpool. Alright, so talking about Liverpool, they obviously got clowned 7-2 to Aston Villa, and I think I saw a stat that their previous 16 compared to the 16 before that was 16 wins to 10 wins. And, obviously they have Everton next week, and Mane is busy with coronavirus, so let's hope the best for Liverpool. But I think a title defense is going to be harder than they thought, considering these new teams, Leicester, Everton. I don't know how Villa is second, but that's a different matter. But yeah, I think a title defense is going to be harder than they thought.
Yeah, moving on to Chelsea's season. So it's an up and down one, right? Okay, I think they have 2 wins, right? 1 draw and 1 loss. I mean, Chelsea are just, for 300 million, they don't look much better. They really don't. And I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Pulisic hasn't played yet. Ziyech hasn't played yet. So you got to give them some credit there, right? Maybe they don't have their best 11. They don't have all their players sorted out. But I still think their defense is weak. I don't think Thiago Silva and Zuma is championship defense. Yeah, it can be top 4 definitely. But I just think Chelsea, I don't know, 300 million. I don't know if Lampard's the right man. We'll get on to it later, but I just don't think he's the right man to take these players forward because he hasn't made the team better. Right? He hasn't coached some of these players better. He's just buying a bunch of signings. All the players he rated that he used all last season, he doesn't use anymore. Mason Mount, he sucks his cock. What the fuck? Mason Mount doesn't even get a. He's an overhyped English talent like so many others. He's Jesse Lingard but younger. He runs, he presses, and people don't want to admit it. He runs, he presses, he scores a worldie every few games. But other than that, he's not consistent. His stats aren't that good in terms of performance. There's so many better players. But I mean, he's gonna dick ride. So what are you gonna do? But yeah, I don't know. Chelsea's season's up and down, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I think they can turn it around if they have Pulisic and Ziyech for the rest of the season.
Yeah, so moving on to City. Honestly, at the beginning of the season, when I honestly thought City, coached by Pep, they obviously got absolutely smashed in the title race last year. I thought they're going to come out, all winning maybe 5-6 games in a row. They're going to run away with the league title because, Pep-led team, Pep doesn't lose titles very often. But they came out, they played Wolves, Leicester, and Leeds. And they won the Wolves game. I didn't really look very convincing to me. Leicester game, you let in 5 goals. That's fucking embarrassing to Leicester. And then you tied Leeds 1-1. And I know you might want to say okay, they don't have a striker right now. Aguero's out, Jesus is out. But they still have quality. You've spent I don't know how much money. Probably I think most of any Prem team in the last few years. You've been at this club for Pep. You've been at this club for 4 or 5 years now. You haven't even gotten close to winning the Champions League. So, where is this actually going? You bought 2 center backs, Ake and Ruben Diaz now. You're still letting in 5 goals to Leicester, and you can't manage to beat Leeds. So, I don't know where this team is going. They're definitely not winning the fucking Champions League this year because, they're an absolute shambles. So, I don't know. They're also in the bottom half of the table. So, they'll definitely finish top half. I don't see them winning the Champions League. They'll probably get top 4. So, yeah, I think it's another wasted season for them already.
Yeah, and moving on to Spurs. So I personally was really happy just for Mourinho to get that redemption because of how it ended at United with the press conference. He was 3-3 titles and shit like that, I remember. But I also felt bad for United, Evra. I mean, Evra looked like me, how I'm going to look after exams next week. But yeah, for Spurs anyway. And Bale hasn't even played yet. That's the thing that I really can't wait for Bale to return. Reguilon looks sauce. I think he had a nutmeg on Rashford in the first half, might have been. And then obviously Son and Kane fucking lighting it up. I honestly think Spurs, the trophy drought, it could end with a Europa League or even an FA Cup this year. So yeah, I'm gonna say Spurs. Honestly, third right now. I could see it finishing.
And on to the next North London club, Arsenal. Now, Spurs are doing really well, and Arsenal, I mean, they haven't done bad. I know people are going to be like, well, like, they haven't really brought in a lot of players. As of right now, we are recording on transfer deadline day. Partey seems to be close to joining Arsenal, which could be a big signing for them. They've never really had a proper DM. So that could be, like, better than Xhaka or fucking Guendouzi and all that shit. So Partey, like that's a high quality signing if they manage to pull him off. But Arteta has coached Arsenal very well. I've been always a fan of him since he's come to Arsenal. He's made such a big change. He's better than Ole and Lampard. In the 6 months, you can see the turnaround he's made at Arsenal. Insane turnaround, making them win the Community Shield, FA Cup, and just making them play better, be more organized defensively. They haven't had that in years. Even towards the end of Wenger, like it was just Wenger brought that attacking philosophy, but defense has always been the suspect since the Invincibles, really, for Arsenal. So, like, the fact that Arteta's brought in some, like, defensive organization is definitely improved Arsenal. And they beat Liverpool 3 times in the last 4 times they played them in, like, the space of 3 months. So, give some credit. But you could still see they're not at Liverpool's level. Like, all these Arsenal fans were getting really hyped. Liverpool went their full best 11, taught them a lesson, spanked them, outplayed them. Like, Arsenal could not keep up with Liverpool. And especially due to Liverpool and Mane specifically. But I digress. Arsenal, I think they're on the right track. I think they're going to finish top 4 with the way they're playing. Partey would definitely help them. And I think I could see them win another Carabao Cup. Or actually, are they still in the Carabao Cup? I'm not sure. But they could win the FA Cup again. They could put a push in Europa League. So I think there's only good things ahead for Arsenal.
Okay, so moving on to United now. I feel like I have so much to say about this team, but like at the same time, like I don't know what to fucking say because you start off the season with a break. Every other team plays. You get an extra week of break, and you think this team will be prepared. You know, they're come out, shots firing, maybe like a 2-3-0 win. They fucking lose to Crystal Palace off some terrible defensive mistakes. And the next week, they don't play well against Brighton. You know, they get the win. Okay, so I was okay with that. You get the win. Get the 3 points, move on to next week. Yesterday, I don't know what the fuck I watched. Like you started off great. I think the attack was good yesterday. You know, first 10, 20 minutes, we were pressing, we were getting shots off, we were playing well, even though we let Spurs get 2 goals. But once we got that red card, everything just fell apart. And like fucking Harry Maguire, like that second goal, when you give away a free kick, they teach you in like elementary school. Stand in front of the ball so that the other team can't counter. This man looks so fucking lost. Like he turns around and the ball's already at Son. Like let your team get back, get organized, so you guys can actually, you know, stop the goal. And then the other thing that like surprised me so much is Serge Aurier kept going down that right side on Luke Shaw's side. And he got no help from Matic or Pogba all game. Like the first two of the first 4 goals, I think they scored down that side. And you would think they would learn after letting in 2 goals that we need to provide help to that side. But time and time again, you saw Serge Aurier making Luke Shaw his fucking bitch on that right side. Like I don't know what to say. Like, and the thing is for me, like against Brighton in the EFL Cup, we won 3-0. I thought McTominay played really well. I thought he deserved to start against Tottenham yesterday. Nemanja Matic should not be playing. He had a good run of games during the coronavirus break, but I don't think he should be playing. He looks too slow. He looks completely out of it. Paul Pogba needs to go and like think life over again because I don't know what he's in his prime right now and he's not playing well at all. Mason Greenwood for me looked bright yesterday compared to the rest of the team. I liked how he played, but the rest of that team was just horrific to watch. I hope you got an international break now, 2 weeks. I hope they come back maybe a little more improved. And if they're not, then I think it's time to start thinking about getting rid of Ollie.
Yeah, just real quick on United before we move on to the sack race for managers. I think Evra on Sky Sports said I wish I could terminate my contract like Sanchez did at or Sanchez wanted to after we joined United. I think United need to terminate some fucking contracts. I think there's 8 center backs at the club, including Tuan Sebe. And the biggest thing for me is as a neutral watching from the outside, I get Wire was a waste of 80, but I don't get why spend the 35 on Van de Beek and not start him as opposed to just add that to the bid for Sancho and then get him. Because, like, as much as I don't like the way Sancho plays, he's the best young player in the world after Mbappe, and he's a generational talent. So, hopefully United sorts this out, and I'm pumped for Cavani anyway. But moving on to the sack race. So, personally, for me, it's between Frank and Ole. And, like, I feel bad for Ole, and he's a good man manager, but I feel like partly it's because of his stature at the club and because he was a legend. And I don't think there's like a clear identity of how he wants to play. And as for Frank, man, I mean, like, Jesus fuck, like 350 million, I don't know what the figure is, but like, it's not looking good for top three. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost their opening Champions League fixtures like Sevilla or Rennes. And if some dramatic shit happens in the cup, I wouldn't be surprised as well. So it's between Ole and Frank for me.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna throw a spanner in the works. I'm gonna say Pep Guardiola. Now, I don't think like people are gonna be like, "What the hell, Pep Guardiola? There's no better manager if City sack him." It's just that 5 years, City have not won a Champions League. He wasn't brought in to win Premier Leagues. Okay, like obviously he wasn't supposed to win them. They want to win Premier Leagues, but like he's not doing that anymore as well because Klopp has come and taken over Liverpool. But the thing is, like the Champions Leagues, that's what he was brought in to do because City could not achieve that. And they haven't gotten any closer. And if you look at the teams they've been knocked out to, Lyon, Tottenham Hotspur, Monaco, right? And I'll give Monaco, okay, they were really good at that time. They got a semifinal, but still, like most of those players weren't established players at the time. And it's not like they've been knocked out to Bayern Munich like Arsenal have, or United lost to Barca last time. Like it's not big teams. These are like, no offense, with all due respect, small teams, and they're getting knocked out. And why does Pep always try to do this like tactical masterclass against these teams, playing like fucking weird like right backs at like left backs, playing CDMs at center back? Like he always, in the big games, he always switches up for some random reason. Why are you doing that? Against Lyon, I think he was playing fucking Fernandinho at center back when he had two fit center backs. Like why? The Pie had like a fun time. The Pie and Troy, they all had a fucking fun time against running at the defense. So I don't know. I think people like Pep, he plays some beautiful orgasmic football, but like Champions League, he hasn't won it. So I think he definitely needs to be in question. I could see, I don't know, maybe not getting sacked. Maybe they'll part ways at the end of the season. I could definitely see that. So City can bring in maybe a Poch. I know he's not going to be much better in terms of winning stuff, or maybe even like Allegri. People forget Allegri's still in the market. He could win titles. So yeah, I think Pep.
Yeah, so I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is definitely on the hot seat. I think like Locke said, like he's a very good player manager. Like you can see it at United now, everyone is happy. You don't see anyone complaining to try to leave the club. But the thing is, for me, he just hasn't done, like last year he finished top four, but he finished top four with the amount of points that normally gets you 6 or 7. So that's not good enough. The way he started this year has been terrible. Like I understand, like United board had not given him money, but you definitely have enough players in your squad to beat Crystal Palace, to dominate Brighton, to not lose by 5 goals against Tottenham. Like you definitely have enough players to do that. So I don't know where he's been. He's been playing the same. We had a specific 11 that worked during the corona, like when we came back from the coronavirus break. And he's still playing that same 11 now, thinking that it's going to continue to work. It's not working. He's making no changes. And especially in that Spurs game, he made no tactical adjustments when we got the red card, when we were getting dominated on the right side by Aurier. So he seems kind of clueless. He's just like kind of going through the motions. So I think he's definitely on the hot seat. And I think when another manager who United are confident is good enough to lead them to where they want to be, I think they will get Rivali. But I also think there's a problem with the board. So something needs to be changed there. But I also do think Ole needs to be let go.
Yeah, my 2 cents on it is that, like, just quickly, is that, yeah, Ole definitely is not good enough to win a Premier League title. I always wanted Poch after Mourinho got sacked. And I was like, okay, Ole club legend, that's all cool and all. And he's not. He's just he's a vibe FC. He just like vibes, right? Like there's no action, just like Lampard. It's all vibes. It's not actual tactical. Like I will say one thing: for everyone saying it's a manager and all that, I completely agree. He's not going to win us the Premier League title. I also think not only is it the board necessary, it's the player recruitment, the whole structure. These players cannot be trusted. These players have put Van Gaal under the bus. They put David Moyes under the bus. They put Jose Mourinho under the bus, and now they're throwing Ole under the bus. Right? In terms of performances, Paul Pogba. I don't know. He's weird. He has spells. Like he had since lockdown until like the Europa League was insane. He was playing at a consistent level for the first time ever and playing well. And then he's gone back into the 3 years of Pogba we've seen. So lazy, doesn't give a shit. Gets moved. Like if a player midfielders always dominate him. That's why I don't think he can play as a CDM by himself. He's not mobile enough to do that. Like he'll just get run past and he won't come back. And Bruno does more defending and he plays as a 10, right? And I think a lot of people don't know this, but yesterday Bruno got subbed off at halftime. Reports have come out today because Bruno got pissed, had to go at Maguire, and Ollie told him he subbed him off and told him to sit with Martial in the dressing room because Bruno was pissed and as an actual captain was going at Maguire. That's why get rid of the armband from Maguire. He is not a captain. He's a fucking fridge. He's not a captain. Get the captain armband from him and give it to Bruno. He's an actual captain. He went at Lindelof at the Europa League semi-final when they lost, and people got pissed. That's what a captain should do. That's what Roy Keane would do. He would go at players when they were not doing well. They need more players like Bruno Fernandes or when Zlatan was there. How come the one season we won trophies, we had a leader like Zlatan? That's all I'm saying. I think these players are suspect. Some of them have weak mentalities. They need to be shut off, like Locke said, and like Chris said. We need better player recruitment. But Ollie, he's still not good enough to win.
Yeah, and I feel like since we're talking about United, we got to talk about VAR and handball as well. Like, I don't know, man. The whole Martial Lamela shit. Like, I don't like the shithousery, but at the same time, I respect it. Like, I remember there was a similar incident with Costa against Arsenal a couple years back when Wenger was still at the club. I don't know. My thing more like with the handball thing is like it wasn't as big this weekend, but like you have to change the fucking rule. Like it's just bad. Like the Eric Dyer thing, wasn't even looking at it. Like all right, NBA like gave him time. I think it was against I don't know whether they played, but like he headed it from like 5 yards away and it still hit him on the hand. My thing with this red card shit, man. Like Mane on Tierney card, Luke Shaw on Lucas Moura, that's a red card. The Pogba tackle last week on Connolly, like that's a pen, if not a card at least. And like Lamela should have got a red card, but like these things, like I don't know what the fucking FA or whatever the body that legislates this shit is like doing, but like they got to stop jacking off and like get to work.
Yeah, VAR. Like I mean, I'll be honest. United have always benefited from VAR. Only yesterday was like the first time we've like done like it hasn't benefited us. So I can't really speak on it, but I think like the handball rule needs to be revoked. Like it can't be like that. It can't be like, oh, anytime it touches below your shoulder, unintentionally or intentionally, it's going to be a penalty. Because like then it's impossible. Then you might as well cut people's hands off and arms off. Just play without arms. Like fucking hell. Like you can't do that. So I think I don't know the FA needs to work on that, change that rule, alter it or make it more lenient so that shit doesn't happen. Because people are just going to chip it at people's arms in terms of penalties. And then, yeah, in terms of red card, I don't know. I just think like yesterday, the referee didn't use the monitor. That's interesting. I thought they use it for goals and stuff and penalties. I don't get why they don't use it for red cards. So I don't know. The ref could have definitely done that, but I mean, people are just gonna take advantage of it. And refereeing is never gonna be perfect. But I don't think it's VAR. The system is used the system itself is efficient. It's the people using the system. That's my thing with VAR. The people have to be consistent. Right, some people are giving handballs for one thing. I know like Gabriel or David Luiz in the Arsenal game last week did a handball, right? But that wasn't called. And then like Eric Dyer, and that's a similar like instance got called and got a penalty. So it just got to be consistent for me, honestly.
Yeah, so for me, the thing with the handballs, the new rule, I think it's kind of ruining the game. There's way too many penalties being given out now because of that rule. I think there was an incident yesterday with Luke Shaw, and I forgot who was taking him on one-on-one, but he was outside the box, almost in his own penalty box, and his arm was in the frame of his body, and the ball hit his arm. And they called it a free kick, but like he can't really do it. Like he can't really do anything there. It's in the frame of his body. It shouldn't be called a handball. So I think they definitely need to change that rule. In terms of VAR, I think Vignesh was right in terms of there's nothing wrong with the system. The system works like it's supposed to. There's something wrong with the people who are interpreting the rules of the system. Like it's being called differently every time. I think that's what's making people mad. So if you can get that to change, I think VAR will be a success. But the handball rule definitely needs to change because there's way too many penalties being given out.
Yep, and then moving on to the battle for the European places. So Europa League we're talking about. Obviously, like Everton have been like saucing right now, top of the table. I think like if they keep this up, I don't want to say like top six, obviously, because like I don't think that's accurate. But like I feel like it could return to the Europa League days under Roberto Martinez. I also think like West Ham, if they keep this up, maybe at least like 10th wouldn't be the ceiling. They could get above 10th. So yeah, I'm gonna say Everton for like a confirmed Europa League spot.
Yeah, Everton are playing insanely well. I mean, I don't even know if it's Europa. I could definitely see them finish in the top four just with like teams like United not playing so well and Chelsea being very inconsistent, right? So I could definitely Everton have a system. They have players who are playing well at the moment. Yes, injuries would hurt them, but if they don't have any injuries, I could see them push for top four, right? I mean, I think the biggest hurdle for them now is can they like we'll see like in 2 weeks from now against Liverpool, can they challenge like a big team? Yeah, they beat Tottenham, right? But can they handle themselves? You even get a draw against a Liverpool now, or beat like a City, or beat an Arsenal, beat a Chelsea, right? So I think that's like the last test for them. But I could definitely see them top four. Leicester are weird. I don't know because like you see Leicester doing really well, and then they go do that to West Ham yesterday. I mean, fair play to West Ham. Bowen's been playing really well, Antonio, but Jesus Christ, they just got hit on the counter and they got fucked. So I don't know. Leicester are an interesting team. Like they have very good. They've brought in players like Castagna to replace Chilwell and stuff like that, and done really good signings. Leicester have always been good in terms of recruitment. I think I'll see them push top six. And the other team I would also say is probably. I mean, I don't know. It's too early to say this, but I don't know, Newcastle. I know people are gonna be like, what Newcastle, right? And I just think I know Newcastle lost to Everton, but Everton are playing really well, and Newcastle they have like Wilson now, who's like doing pretty well for them, and I just think like Fraser and all these players, like I think they recruited pretty well. I could see them be an outside chance to seventh, sixth, maybe. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think assuming the League Cup winner and the FA Cup winner are already a part of the top six, I think that opens up 3 Europa League spots. So I see West Ham, Newcastle, Leeds, and Southampton as teams that are going to be fighting for it, but I think they're just going to miss out to Wolves, Wolves and Leicester. I think one of those teams are going to get in. West Ham, Southampton, Newcastle, Leeds. I think Wolves and Leicester are definitely going to get it. The reason I'm not mentioning Everton is I legitimately think Everton are fighting for Champions League right now. They have a good manager, a great manager in Carlo Ancelotti. You have your star player in James Rodriguez. You have a striker that is probably going to finish top 3 to 5 in the Premier League this year. It's a solid defense. So I think they'll definitely be fighting for Champions League. And besides that point, I think if they beat Liverpool this week, I honestly think they have a chance of winning the title. Because every other team does, maybe it'll change throughout the season, but every other team looks very weak. Like no team has like solidified themselves as like a superpower for this year. Liverpool you let in 7 goals. I think that at Aston Villa, you already kind of you're still in the title race, obviously, but it makes you look a little weaker. City are not even in the top half of the table. So I think if Everton get as many points as they can now, while other teams are down, I think they will be in the Champions League race and maybe even in the title race.
Yeah, just real quick, I forgot to touch on Everton's defense. I feel like everyone had been like, oh, they're going to concede. But, like, I feel like barring any, like, Pickford's, like, retardedness, like, they looked good, and they didn't have Alan against Brighton. And, like, honestly, he spilled it, and, like, that's why Mope scored. But, like, and next week even we'll see Adrian versus Pickford. 2 weeks from now, the battle of the 2 shit goalkeepers. But moving on to relegation battle. So, like I told these guys before, like, I really fuck with West Brom and Fulham because of, like, Mitrovic, Pereira, and Diangana, but, like, I hate to say it, like, they're going to go down. Because, like, against Wolves, man, like, Fulham, they played really well, but they couldn't muster a single shot. Did fucking Kamara helped out Patricio with shooting practice, so that's not too great. But I really hope either Burnley or Sheffield do go down because, like, it's fucking terrible to watch. So I'm going to go Burnley, Fulham, and West Brom.
For me, so just to recap, guys, like when we did our predictions like a couple weeks ago when the season started, I said Aston Villa would be one of the teams to go down. I highly regret that decision. They are playing insane. I actually probably should have mentioned them in maybe European positions. I know it's really too early to say that, But I think they'll at least finish top 10. So Aston Villa are playing insane, so I do not think they're going to be in relegation battle anymore. So sorry to all Aston Villa fans. Like Liverpool smashing yesterday, 11-11, fucking hell. But in terms of relegation, Sheffield, I did not believe that they can go from the season they had last season to losing every game so far. Now, again, it's really too early. Anything can happen. You can always come back from this. We've seen teams with more losses come back. But it's just not looking good for Sheffield. Only 1 goal scored in 4 games. Fair enough, it was a good goal from a goal jerk yesterday against Arsenal outside the box. But, like, now we're seeing what people thought Sheffield would be doing, right? You don't see the same organization from Chris Wilder. Maybe the motivations for some of the players are gone. I don't know, like, to impress. But, like, the organization isn't there. And when the organization isn't there, you see the team for what it is. Mostly championship players. Not good enough to play in the league. Bar maybe John Egan. And I also think Dean Henderson, now people are seeing the impact that Dean Henderson had for that team. Ramsdale, like some of this, like he's not as good. Like Dean Henderson was playing above average for Sheffield, keeping them in some of those games because Ramsdale's not bad, but he's not doing what Dean Henderson was doing for Sheffield. So yeah, I think Sheffield are definitely going down. West Brom, I really liked how they, especially against Chelsea, like the attack of Diangana. Like how did West Ham let go of that? But very interesting and entertaining attack, but the defense got awful. I think they've conceded the most goals in the league so far. And then I also have to say after that, Fulham as well. They put up a good fight against Leeds, so I'll give them like they're gonna finish probably 17th or 18th. Like they'll be the team that will fight till the end because they do have like some good attacking potential. But again, defense. I know like the board or the manager or something came out and said that we're gonna try to sign more center backs. Interesting to say that when you have center back, like what do the center backs at your club right now think? They want to like they're gonna be pissed like, oh, you're replacing us and shit. But like regardless, if they sign those center backs by the end of today in the transfer window, maybe they'll stay up. But right now, Fulham, Sheffield, and West Brom for me.
Yeah, so I think I've watched the Premier League for 7 to 8 years now, and I think this is the most lopsided relegation battle I've ever seen in my time watching. Because I think there's like a huge gap between like Fulham, Sheffield, Burnley, West Brom, and then like the rest of the league. Because I think every other team above those 4 have shown that they have some talent. Those 4 looked fucking horrendous these last 4 weeks. West Brom and Fulham, I think they're still the same championship team that they were last year. They look like a championship team. I think they will easily go down like how Norwich did last year. Even with the attacking talent they have, the defenses are just way off par of what it should be for Premier League. For me, the last spot is going to go to either Burnley or Sheffield. They both have similar play styles. Like Locke said, I also hate watching both of them. Sheffield, I feel like they will find a way to clean it up because I feel like they did this coming out of the coronavirus break last year. They did the same thing where they lost like 3 or 4 in a row and they picked it up. The only thing that worries me is like Vignesh said, they scored 1 goal in the last 4 games. So that's not good enough. But for me, Burnley, I think they've had their time. They've been here 5-6 years. I think this is the year that they fall off. Another team that I think could be in that relegation battle is Crystal Palace for me because the 2 games they won were not convincing against Southampton. United they beat. Credit to them for that. They beat United. But Southampton, they got dominated that game. I think they should have lost. And they got absolutely clapped by Chelsea over the weekend. So I think they could also be in that. I don't think they're going to get relegated, but I think they'll be there in that relegation battle. So for me, I think it's going to be Fulham, West Brom, Burnley as the bottom 3.
Well, you heard it here, guys. These are our Premier League season review. So you guys let us know what you thought of your team, right? Well, if you were a top 6 team, how do you think your team is doing? Your relegation? Just let us know in the comments below how well you think your team has done so far and what your expectations of the season are for the rest of the season. But other than that, we'll catch you in the next vid. Peace.